Hear me again. I'm going to facilitate this mobile money and e-commerce section. Oh, not both, but just one session, which is bank at the fingertip. Basically, banking the unbanked. So, before we move on to very strange words that you might say, bank in the unbanked, bank at the fingertip, I would rather go to a few background on how we started all this. So in 2013, I know that you all remember, Myanmar government granted license to 2 additional MNOs, which is Telenor and Ooredoo. So with MPD, we have 3 MNOs. So these 2 MNOs launch transformed the market with greatly improved coverage. We have better internet now than before, and significant reduction in the cost of a SIM card. Before our SIM cards are really expensive. It can be ranged from like 2,000 USD to now 1.5 USD. So that's where our digital era started. So every time I talk about this, I give example of my mom. My mom is a middle-aged woman, stay-home mom of an average income family. He doesn't really want to. She convinced herself that she doesn't need mobile phone before the SIM card prices are down, because it's expensive. So she keeps saying herself, oh, I don't need it because my husband needs it, he is working. My son needs it, he is studying outside. But now, as mobile SIM cards prices are going down, she started to use phone. There, she started to use more than calling, which includes which includes online shopping. He even shop apartments online. I don't know how she do it, but yes, online shopping, connecting with people, ordering this, ordering that online. She stay home, but she has a lot of stuff sometimes because she order online. So that's how the digital era started. So this session, basically, we are going to talk about mobile money. Mobile money, but not general population, but for the rural area, where the villages are. So mobile money, or I would say a way to provide financial service to people who do not have access to services provided by banks, which is in rural area, people don't have bank accounts. So mobile financial services can access to those people. This has become popular since 2001 in other countries. So Smart Telecom in Philippines was the first service provider to launch mobile money service, followed by Globe in the same market. Now Telenor has launched Wave Money. It's kind of like mobile money as well. So mobile money has since then helped the cause of financial inclusion by providing unbanked people, rural area people who doesn't have bank, a way to open an account, deposit cash, transfer, take out money, pay utilities bills, etc. We are not doing all of these yet. And that's where we're gonna tackle. That's also one of the areas that we're gonna tackle in this panel. So today there are markets where people pay school fees. Other countries, there are people who actually pay school fees, consumer credit, save money, sign up for insurance through mobile financial services. So mobile money has proved to be a cost-effective way for serving the lower market segment because it's light infrastructure. So selected retail outlets, they call mobile money agents. People use these locations to deposit and withdraw cash. So basically, they don't need the physical building of bank. They just need an agent. But do we have enough agent now? Are you guys using mobile money? So I think these are the problems that we want to tackle in this panel. So the customer use the account for various use cases using their mobile phones. So my panel actually have 2 panelists. One from GSMA Mobile Money Program, Miss Sophia, She's actually the senior market engagement manager who focus on emerging topics in the region to support mobile money services. But unfortunately, her flight has been delayed and cancelled because of the weather condition, so she couldn't join personally. So we decided to asked her to make an introduction. Please see.
Hello everyone and greetings from the GSMA. First of all, I would like to really apologize for not being there in person. Myanmar is an interesting market. I have been there a couple of times and I wish I was there today as well to present this in person. It always fascinates me how quickly the market is developing and the opportunity that mobile money has to bridge the gap and bring people that are underserved right now to play an active role in the new economy is really exciting. I would like to just brief you guys a little bit about what mobile money has been able to achieve in the last 10 years since the launch of it in Kenya by M-Pesa. Today, mobile money is available in 93 markets, provided by 277 operators. These markets, almost two-thirds of these markets are actually low and medium income markets, and it is not a wonder that mobile money has been able to scale in the markets where there was a gap between those who were being served by the incumbent providers like banks and those who were not served at all. So much so that today there are 500 million people who are registered users of this service, and about a third of them are regular users. So about 175 million customers are using mobile money regularly. This is a great opportunity for Myanmar as well to develop this sector, and the government has already taken great initiatives in the form of e-money regulations that has allowed new players to come in and bridge the gap and provide the services. I would also like to do a little bit more about the role of the agents in the market because as you know, mobile money is not provided by banks, so they are not brick and mortar structure. Rather, retail network is utilized to serve as agents for the mobile money, so that people can walk in, cash in, and cash out, and that's the sector that all the mobile money providers, the ones actually the successful ones, have established and invested in it as well. Our profitability study also shows that there are the operators invest for every $1 that they actually generate in the revenue. They spend almost $7 to $8 on establishing agent network and other operational activities in the first few years. Today, there are about 4.3 million agents across the globe, roughly about 1.2 agents per 1,000 adults in those markets where mobile money has been able to scale. Mobile money, as it started in Kenya, has been largely about sending money home or domestic remittances. However, this has this has evolved, and people are using the service for other products as well, such as paying utility bills or merchant payments or international remittances. The growth in those sectors has been driven mainly by the demand from the customers, as well as the opportunity that the operators and different ecosystem players saw. We think that Myanmar also has a great opportunity to develop this sector, and since there is a gap, there are not that many players who are providing merchant services or utility bill payments or international remittances. That's where mobile money can also come in and include those people people who are using informal or cash-based systems for these services to get into the digital space and utilize the service and get financially included in the space. The governments also have a huge opportunity and responsibility on the same side. Governments, and I'm sure like all the governments, government of Myanmar is also the largest payer for their citizens. They are involved in payments to citizens in the form of salaries, pensions, or social benefits, whereas they also collect money from their citizens in the form of different fees for different documents like passports or licenses, and also receive money for various challans and taxes, more importantly for taxes. And all these payments, once they are digitized, can bring efficiency in the economy and also reduce the cost of doing transactions. And people, when they see the government is involved in this, that creates a lot of trust for the customers, and they adopt digital mode of payments quickly once they see that their government is involved in it, and they feel comfortable doing the transactions digitally. I would like to end my note by highlighting one good example from Kenya, where M-Pesa could directly pull 2% of the people living in poverty conditions out of it. And I believe there's no reason why Myanmar cannot replicate it or can do even better than this. I wish you all a productive day today, and thank you very much for this opportunity. Goodbye.
So, as she has mentioned, mobile money service sector is actually very promising and emerging sector, but yet there are a lot of things to tackle, even for the government itself. So, for further problems that we have to tackle, I would like to invite my next panelist, Mr. Winifred, COO of Mingalaba Company Limited. Start by introduction.
So, I'm currently the CEO of Galabar. Galabar is it's a holding company, and we're trying to introduce mobile money on numerous layers, trying to differentiate in terms of
First up, I would like to ask you to share with all the audience, because we have very audience of various sectors. So what is the mobile money and why it exists? Why there is mobile money?
Well, mobile money is actually per se is accessing an account or financial services with the use of mobile by its name. But technically, mobile is just a channel. Sometimes some people get confused what is mobile banking and what's mobile money. Right? So mobile banking is accessing your bank account with the use of mobile. It's similar with, well, technically you have a bank account. Your account houses your money. You can access it using the passbook, you can access it using ATM. Another channel is mobile, as well as online. That's mobile banking. Mobile money is like having an account on your phone. The benefit of this to the user is that even though there's no bank accessible, which we say the brick and mortars, you can still access the services that usually been given by the bank. So you have the loans, you have the savings, you can send money, and you can purchase or you can pay for the utility bills.
So as you said, mobile money actually can be used without a bank, right? So normally in our country, normally semi-rural, semi-urban, and rural area, people doesn't have a bank account. But yet, as a mobile money service provider, the very first market that you look into Myanmar, what would be the very first market that you would look into Myanmar? The very first market segment that you will look into Myanmar when you launch mobile money in Myanmar?
Yeah, so in terms of segmentation or trying to penetrate the market, there's something what we call underserved or the unbanked. Underserved are those people who has access, but they don't have the full service that they need. The unbanked is those people literally doesn't have any access to any financial services. So those are the target market. But sometimes people get confused that mobile money is trying to get in, so you get banked. Literally, yes, but sometimes you can actually penetrate the market slowly, try to give them what they need, it's a low-hanging fruit of what the people need. Sophia mentioned, I barely understand what she saying earlier due to the speaker, but I heard about M-Pesa in Kenya. Most of us who knows M-Pesa in Kenya, that's the most successful mobile money launch in the world. Successful in a way that everyone knows it. Every Kenyan actually has M-Pesa, and a big portion of their GDP actually goes through M-Pesa in terms of P2P. However, the backstory of M-Pesa, they never launched or they never thought about launching P2P. P2P is actually sending money from another person. They never thought about that. The real story of M-Pesa is that they were launching loan. It's a loan with an access of mobile phone. And they noticed that people were using the service enabled to send money. When they realized that, they changed the strategy, they changed the product, and introduced P2P. Now, what is so different with Kenya, with any other countries, is the need. The need of the people is actually security. In Kenya, actually, you might get stabbed just for $5. They're going to rob you for $5. So that's the security need in Kenya. Now, I also had an experience in Afghanistan. We checked the demographics of Kenya, we checked the demographics of Afghanistan. We said, yeah, it's perfect, it's the same. Population is the same, no security, there's lack of security, yes. However, why it didn't took off in Afghanistan compared to Kenya if everything is the same? The very difference of the people is actually the attitude. The attitude of the Afghans, the people of Afghanistan, they have this what you call trust and loyalty. So they have what they call hawala, not the halawa mobile, but the hawala. Hawala is the same of what we call here as hundis. Hawala business is a 2,000 years business, right? Now, the attitude of the Afghans is, we just asked this question. He's charging you $100 and sending $5,000. This guy will charge you $10. Why do you choose the $100? Simple answer. Because my father is using his father, my father's father is using his father's service. So the trust is something that you cannot break with Afghans. So that's the big difference. That's the reason the P2P then took off in Afghanistan compared to Kenya. So what I'm trying to say here, every country, every population has their uniqueness. The need, that's something that needs, in Myanmar, personally, we still need to identify that need. Is there really a need to introduce a P2P? It might not be the P2P who is actually needing by the people, because they get used to sending the money to the bus driver because they know the bus driver, or the family a friend of the family goes back and forth from Yangon to another province every week, so it's free for them, right? So what's really the need? So that's something that needs to be triggered and try to offer. Another strategy on that is to let them know that they need your service. So those are the things that we're looking at. It's not a game that we have this superb service, we have the most secured, or we have these all kinds of services that you need and pick us. It doesn't work that way.
In your conversation, I can clearly know that each country has its unique motives of using mobile money. In your view, right now, we haven't figured out the motives yet. So my next question is, how about we initiate some types of projects that they would like to use? For example, rural area, for example, farmers. What types of service that we can actually include mobile money in their everyday usage of services?
From business point of view or product manager's point of view, wherever there's money, there's mobile money. If there's an exchange of cash between two people or an entity, you can use mobile money. So there's really no innovation in it. You're just changing the physical cash of notes into digital, right? But to answer your question on that, let's say for the farmers, the GDP of Myanmar, 70% of it is coming from the farmers, or for farming. However, correct me if my figure is correct, about 60% or 70% of those farmers doesn't have an access on loans, right? That's fine. Sometimes they borrow money from their neighbor or they borrow money from their relatives. But what is lacking, what I notice, is the insurance. If there's a typhoon or there's some calamities that unforeseen that can actually damage the crops, it's useless for them. So they lost the money and they got burdened on these loans that they borrowed. And usually these loans, they've been charged 10 to 12% interest month by month, right? So that's one thing that we're looking at. It's not a unique problem or a problem that no one actually figured out. I noticed most of the players already knows about it. Most of the players actually doing some works or projects in terms of how to help the farmers or how to penetrate that specific sector.
So in terms of launching mobile money in a country, the distribution channel is also important. The distribution channel, the agents are also important, especially if you're looking at the rural area people using mobile money, but there is no agent in their village, then we can't do anything. So what we will talk about the agent's perspective. What would be the challenges in finding agents as a mobile service provider in your experience?
Yeah, it's the agent is actually it's chicken and egg, right? It's a chicken and egg problem. You become an agent, you invest $100, let's say, and then there's no people coming in. So your $100 is just sleeping right there. You're earning nothing. And the way you got that agent is the company selling point is you have your cash on your drawer, just put your cash here, and then you can entertain people doing cash in or cash out. However, there's no one. So the agents will complain, no people coming in, you have my $100, I cannot even touch it. If I put that $100 to my stocks on the goods that I'm selling, at least every day, it's selling something, I get a small portion of earnings, so I get more than that. Now, when it comes to a company or for the customer will say there's no agent. So it needs to come to a point that everything should come according to plan. So for sure the agent, sometimes we try to buy the agents of a good selling point until they got fed up, because the expectation was based on the the company's selling point, and it didn't happen. So just try to put it up front. Yes, you're going to invest. You will not earn in the next few months, but I promise I'll give you earnings. I'll bring the customers. In marketing, that's actually push and pull. I'll push the people to actually come from you. I'll push you to go to the customers. I'll pull the customers towards you. But again, it should work together, the agent, because the agent is actually an extension of the company. Let's say, for example, there's a mobile money company and there's an agent. You as a customer, you're talking to an agent. It feels like it's supposed to be you're talking to a representative of that company. So he's an extension. Whatever his attitude, he's not smiling at you, he looks pissed off because he's doing something in behalf of you. That's a representation of the company. So in those strategies, sometimes we also try to train them on how to face the customers, how to solve the problems. Because if there's a problem, you know this agent, you've been doing business with him for quite some time. So the first thing that you will do if you have a problem, not to call the customer service, but you go to the agent, hey, I had this problem, and it's the agent who actually solved the problem. So it's like belonging to the company, and you're helping one another.
It seems that it's almost very risky for mobile service provider to actually give mobile services. So what my next question will be, if that is the really challenging part, then is there any mobile service provider who actually pull out an agent network in the rural area, banking the unbanked, I would say?
In rural area, because you have to also understand how the mobile money works at the back end. At the front end, you're just speaking to an agent. You're doing a cash in or cash out. However, one agent in a particular area, at the end of the day, either will have more cash or will have more e-money, right? If it's more, either of the two, he needs to actually go to the bank to actually deposit the money or withdraw the money, right? If at the end of the day, the agent has more cash, then he needs to deposit the money to the bank so the mobile money provider can send him e-money and he can do the business on the next day, right? So it's actually, rather than the customer going to the bank, collectively the agent having numbers of transactions, he's the only one who's going to access the bank, right? So to answer your question, when you say rural area, let's make it extreme. Let's say what we call the roadless village. So if you have a particular agent in that roadless village, he needs to actually invest some sum of money to facilitate the services, let's say good for 5 days or 7 days. So he doesn't need to go to the bank every day, right? And then he can go to the bank once a week. So he saves some money for the transportation because that's his business, right? So sometimes the agent thought it was a sideline because the main business is actually the selling of goods, being a retailer, right? Because most of the time, the mobile money service providers take those retailers as their agent. Right?
Shops and stores.
Yeah, because the sales stock is, you have your money on the drawer, let's use that for this additional business. And then that sales stock is actually mind setting for the agents. Oh, this is just my side business. It means I can deprioritize that. But if you have a mind setting to the agents that this will be your primary service, then they will have that mind setting that, okay, I need to take care of this business because this is where I get money from.
So, for the final points, I would like you to discuss about the government role in developing mobile financial services in the rural area.
Honestly, I learned about the regulation of Myanmar when I did a consultation here last year. And I was surprised about the regulation when the first time I read it. It was ease actually compared to every other countries. It's actually nice, there's no burden, there's no blockage. So what I'm trying to say here, I'm not saying it's perfect. What I'm trying to say here, there's no initial blockage for a mobile money service provider to give their service to the population. So just to give you a scenario, in Afghanistan, let's say, to become an agent, we need to pay about $225 per agent. And it needs to be a shop, it needs to be a fixed shop, it needs to be a registered shop within the government. So only on those three basic requirements, the percentage of potential agents go down, right? Because you need to pay $225. Okay, the company shoulder the $225, but that's still a blockage because that's a fund or that's an investment the company that needs to look at. But here it's so easy that even doing a transaction which is not registered is allowed. In early years in other countries, especially in African countries, it wasn't allowed. And most of the providers and those well-known players were actually begging the regulators to actually at least let's use the SIM registration as a primary aspect to allow customers to do transaction. They actually took them more than 2 or 3 years for that to be approved. In Myanmar, they gave the policy and then it's already included. So probably the next stage that we're going to discuss it with the government is once it really got big that some of the limitations, let's say, stop the improvement of mobile money. Right now, the only thing that I can see is that it might be too low, the limits. But for now, it's not really a problem because no one is using it yet that much, right? And then if we're talking about e-commerce, which we're going to discuss later on, there's some limits as well. But somehow the government also consider that because they're saying that payments of goods are not included on the limitation. It's actually just sending the money. That's what's regulated. So what I'm trying to say here that the policy was well thought and probably compared or did some benchmarks on other countries, which is good.
Which is good, yes. So to conclude that, we still have to find out the motives of people in Myanmar to use mobile money still, and the agents network is still on up and running, right?
Yes, well, it's just the basics, right? Most of us here were considered the bank one, right? Most of us, our salary goes straight to the bank. Some of us doesn't have, we're still receiving the salary in form of cash, but they open by themselves a bank account where they keep a portion of their salary. I even asked one and they said because it's a security thing, right? So they know what they need. However, if you're talking about a person who's earning less than $100 a month, why do you need to put that $100 into a bank, which actually in just one day, you just need to pay all the bills and buy all the foods for the entire month, right? So the very basic on that is try to put that $100 straight to his account because you will not expect those people to actually go to an agent, do a cash in so I can use this whatever function it offers me, right? You cannot expect that. But if you put the salary, let's say $100, and try to train them, oh, you don't need to withdraw everything. If you're going to save, let's say 10%, we have this savings product that you can use. Why don't you maximize or utilize this product and you earn more? Or we have a $1 insurance that you get probably $500 if something bad happens. So it's trying to introduce or try to not really train, but let them know what's available and execute it properly.
Thank you very much for your interesting point. Before we move on to e-commerce session, which is normally urban, semi-urban, or people are started to using. So can we have some questions if the audience have, we want to open questions for the audience. If not, I would like to invite another facilitator for this panel, Ms. Kim Yen-no. She is the Vice President of Sanju, Myanmar. She will be leading the panel for e-commerce.
Ms. Kim Yen-no, Vice President of Sanju, Myanmar, will be performing as facilitator for the panel Possibilities of Mobile Banking and E-Commerce. And Mr. Sumit Jazoria, Managing Director of Shop.com.mm, as a panelist. And Ms. Wee Yi Chen, CEO and founder of AIT Company Limited, Groupbuy.com. And Mr. Winifred Tabons, COO of Mingalaba Holding, will be the panelist.
So, good afternoon, everyone. So, I'm Kim Yen-no from Sanju, Myanmar, and I will be the facilitator of these sections. And in these sessions, our three panelists will discuss about the possibilities of mobile banking and e-commerce. So, firstly, I would like to request you to introduce yourself and share something about your team and your business, about sharing your stories to them.
Hi, my name is Wee Yi Chen. I'm a CEO of AIT, Groupbuy.com. So, Groupbuy is more like discount coupons and the website in Myanmar that we are the very first started, regarding with the coupon stuff in Myanmar. Yeah, that's what we're doing right now.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Sumit Jasoria. I'm the Managing Director of Shop.com.mm. Can I ask a question to all of you? Do you know about this company? Anybody tried this? Anyone?
Yeah, me. Yeah.
Good. I think it's time to wake up and have a good discussion. And feel free to ask any questions to all the panelists here. Thanks.
So, you want to introduce yourself again? Okay. So I would like to ask you to share what are you doing now about your business or your team again. So I would like to request you to
about your teams
and your business and doing anything you want to talk about them. Yes, your business and your groups, what you're doing.
So, technically we haven't launched yet. So, we're a mobile money service provider, and the main objective is actually to offer mobile services for those people who has no access to the banks.
So in this panel, I would like to ask you, my first question is, what is e-commerce?
Okay. So e-commerce means electronic commerce, and there are different models of e-commerce across the world. There is a model of Amazon where you retail, where the company buys the products and sell it online. There's a platform called marketplace, where there's a seller, there's a buyer, and the company facilitates to have a transaction. And our company, shop.com.mm, is a marketplace. It means we don't buy and sell. We have suppliers or sellers selling the products online, and there are consumers who want to buy these products online. The only thing what we do is we do a lot of quality checks. We make sure the products are new and authentic, so that the customer who buys a product gets a great experience, and we also make sure that the product, if is not happy with, is returned back to the supplier and the money is returned back to the customer. And the last would be a model which is like C2C, which is eBay or Taobao, China, which is about a consumer to consumer transaction, where you can sell a new product or a used product to the customer.
So that's same some Facebook page, some called online shopping page belong to the e-commerce.
For the Facebook page,
Yes.
because e-commerce mostly about the buying things and selling things using internet. So the Facebook officially turned like 40 million users in Myanmar 2017. So which is a huge amount of the customer. And technically, obviously, we cannot beat them, right? So and we seeing a lot of online shopping, like the selling product on Facebook, and also the peoples and also merchants are aware of how powerful social media it is. So selling things on Facebook is one of the way that that people doing right now, right here. But we sometimes, for e-commerce we see like enemy, but we cannot leave it alone, right? So Facebook is one of the tools that we stay needed. We stay needed. So in Myanmar, is people, everyone have a mobile phone, and for many things, when the people outside of the city area, they understand internet is Facebook. So when I ask, do you use internet? Of course I use it. This is here, Facebook. So literally it's people changing, their concept on the internet. What is social network? What is e-commerce, right? But Myanmar moving fast. So we need to do what we have to do. If we have to sell products on online, whether social media channel or whether proper e-commerce, whatever is it, we should be there. So yeah, that's the right way to start out with a low budget. If you are planning to do e-commerce out there, in fact there, do it.
So anything you want to discuss?
I think, as already she said, that Facebook groups remain a very, very strong selling points, but they also have some limitations. The limitation is that you don't have any quality control as a consumer. There have been chances and instances in past where the consumers have been cheated. This is where a reputed company or companies come in place. Why do we buy from Amazon or Alibaba? They have a reputation, global reputation, which brings them a quality control. There's a reason that companies like shop.com.mm figure out and say a solution where a consumer has proper protection for his products. A Facebook group doesn't allow that. There's no regulation in Myanmar for Facebook groups. You and me can start a Facebook group any day and we can cheat customers, no one stops us. But a company cannot do that. And a lot of companies are trying to build up a reputation on that reason. That a company comes with a lot of reputation, they come with a lot of care about the consumers, about the product quality, which enhances the overall online shopping experience.
Well, Facebook is, for me, it's a triggering point. So you advertise on Facebook, and once you click it, it diverts you to their official page. So Facebook is where people first time see those advertising or those what interests them. The very good part in that is there's an intelligence actually that the Facebook somehow knows what you want if you notice. Whatever you're searching for, you will notice the advertising or the items being advertised to you is actually what interests you because it tries to study. Another good fact based on the attitude of people or the way of thinking of people towards Facebook, about 7% of those people who says they don't use internet actually uses Facebook. For them, they don't access the internet, they just access Facebook. So sometimes those mentality, right? They don't. For them, the internet is something else. Facebook is something else. Right?
So you told you said about that. The suppliers can cheat the buyers on the Facebook. So what will be the other weakness of Facebook online shopping page?
The weakness, I think, remains in the quality of products and also the government laws. It means you can bring products from any part of the world without paying any taxes. You don't pay anything to the government of the Myanmar, but you can make your own money, which is again, I think, a legal way of doing business. Because as a company, you need to make sure that your products are coming via proper channel and they are paying all the applicable taxes. The government's responsible for that. So that's one thing I think as Facebook pages, they don't do that. That's why the prices sometimes are cheaper than you find in stores, because the stores generally pay taxes.
So yeah, I think the same way too. Because the Facebook, so many online shop, they doing fake product or authentic product, many things. So in some way, the Facebook cost is not a small amount. So at one point, for the e-commerce or the user, they need to shift to the authentic e-commerce because they have reliable logistics, they have guarantee of any product. So Facebook somehow it has a weak point, but I seen a lot of Facebook online shops they do in a proper way. But it's very hard to government to manage the tax and the crimes and from the if they lying to the customer, how do they deal with? So these are the many issues out there in Myanmar really happening. So we e-commerce are also struggling, to be an authentic e-commerce to get a customer through our website. But it stays challenging for us, so we stay trying. Yeah. So it's very hard for us to say like what is the weakness and what is the strength. Like it's mixing all around in Facebook.
So only customers are being cheated by suppliers. Any customers cheated the suppliers on?
It's both ways.
Okay.
It's both ways always. That when an e-commerce starts, initially the suppliers are the ones who start cheating because they want to make quick money. So they want to sell fake products. They want to sell fake phones sometimes, fake brand fashion T-shirt something. And then when it starts becoming more and more, and then the volume of customers buying online becomes higher, then people start cheating the suppliers. They say, I did not get a product. The product was broken. The product was not what I wanted. That time, again, they have problems. So that's where a global e-commerce company has its own parameters, own processes for that, to control that across its business. It happens in China, it happens in India, it happens across the world. So there are processes built up, which is called returns and refunds policy, which every company has to make sure the customers' rights are protected. At the same time, there is something called Seller Protection Fund, which takes care of sellers selling online. That helps both sides to manage or mitigate the risk involved in doing a business.
So for me, in this case, you know, we in here in Myanmar normally deal with the broken promises from supplier and also customer always. And when they order things and the last minute they say no, this is not mine. Who are you? Like we're delivering the product. Come on, like, but they say no. So there are so many cases like that. So we hoping to get people are getting aware of the internet money is really important, so that for the e-commerce company like us can monitor and manage to be proper business transactions between supplier and customer. Otherwise, it's always it's a complaint, an issue.
So for the e-commerce side, which kind of payments are you using now? Is it cash or?
So I think if I ask question to all of you sitting in this room, I think all of you say we use cash. Myanmar is a cash-driven economy. We all need to live by it.
Why not the cash?
We are working with cards. We are working with Visa. We're working with MasterCard. But it's a very small step towards that. We're working with OK Dollar, with Wave Money, with AGD Bank. But if I today ask the transactions what we do in a day, it's not even 0.1%. So it means 99.99% business on online shopping happens via cash. The reason is very simple. Consumers want to first see the product and then pay. This is where Facebook groups have created problems for online shopping companies. They have before asked people to prepay and took away the money without giving products. So online shopping companies have to break that clutter. They said, you pay only when you get the product. 8 months back, we launched a service called Swipe on Delivery, which means you can pay by credit cards or debit cards, but only when you get the product at your house or your office. We saw a better uptake of that, but still is a very small of the overall business. Next 2 days, we launched online payments in Myanmar, which means a customer can use all the bank's credit cards, debit cards, grab and go stores and lot of other offline stores to pay online, which means that we are trying to transition Myanmar to a digital economy or digital or cashless economy. But for that, it cannot happen without the support of other partners, people to believe and trust in that. If today I ask a question to the audience and to you that there are 2 products lying here and you can pay by cash and pay by card, you will say I prefer cash. Why? Because we are born and brought up with that. Last 30 years, the country has seen only cash. It's very difficult to move them to a digital payment in one night. It's not possible. But if I say you get a discount if you use a credit card, then you might try it. So it's finding the enabling factors or the incentives for a customer to go to the extra mile to try a new step or try a new product. That's how I think globally payments have been built up. If you look at markets like China, Alipay was built up on the same model. In India, Paytm was built on the same model, where they created enablers and models to test the product. For my understanding and my personal viewpoint, P2P is a very small part of online mobile banking. It's just 0.1% for me. What is more important is enabling customers to pay using mobile money. It means tomorrow this hotel should take my bills using all the mobile banking options. If that happens, that's the best way to people to move towards digital economy.
For me, it's I think less than 1% using e-payments, because in the group bank it's more like coupon. So if you want to go spas or dining or fitness, you just need to get free coupons. So we give all the free coupon via emails or SMS, and then they take it and they need to present in the merchants. So in that way, they have to give cash. So there is still a traditional way of transactions. We cannot charge in advance because they don't want to pay. And it's it's okay because for me, I don't even use, e-payment like over 3 times per week. This is normal, I think. So for the e-payment, they need to be come up with now in Myanmar there are so many digital payment company. Competition is so intense. This is good for us, not good for them, because now people are getting aware of like, okay, we can transfer money on mobiles, and now they familiar with, okay, they can top up their mobile phone from the using digital payment, but still there is a traditional way, like they need to go their agents and give cash to top up for the mobile money, so which is still a very not quite convenience for them to practice. So, and for the e-commerce company like us, it's the same way, So if they use our service, they need to give cash. If they use the digital money, they still need to go their agents and top up the cash. So this is the same story. That where the customers start noticing, okay, that's busy, so I don't want to buy anymore. That's where you lose your customer. So for e-commerce company, what we do is make it happen. So okay, don't go away. We have a solution. Go and give cash on the merchants. That's what we're doing right now. And but the surprising, some tactic from other, the digital payment company, they using like really good deal, like promotions. If they use their, mobile money, and then they can even buy one jet with, pizza or cinema ticket. So which is quite interesting. So yeah, for me as a user, I'm enjoying to use their service. So I think there's a hope. We have a potential. For e-commerce company, we really love people to use, the mobile payments. But we still need a time.
So you're trying people to use e-payment more than cash payments. So I want to know, why are you trying for e-payments? So what is the weakness of the cash payments? Why we should change to e-payments?
First of all, on the cash, they have the risk that the cash is being carried by the delivery, right? So that's upfront risk. Second, you're paying digital, the money is already with you in real time. You paid with credit card, it brings more customer, supposedly. But if, let's say, you're going to limit Myanmar now, that you're going to only accept credit cards, then you're limiting your customers, because credit card is not that yet scattered in Myanmar. Just to give you a story, in Poland, credit card only started back in 1995. However, after 8 or 10 years, almost no one is using cash. It's always credit card. Right? So it gets into a point that there's a transition between cash to digital payment. However, from their side, they also need to weigh, because at the end of the day, it's still a business. They're being charged as well by the credit card companies. It's not for free. We're doing business because we're doing business. We're not, sorry to be blunt, we're not doing charity, right? So they're being charged. But in return of those charges is actually the security, the easiness. One good example is the function of escrow. Escrow most of the time is actually a function on their side. But going back again to your Facebook question, you're a small retailer. You're just buying from somewhere a bunch of goods, selling it online. By default, you're going to use Facebook. Create your own page, you ask your friends to like it, promote it, basically through your network. Payment, you can use the escrow function that can be provided by the mobile money services that you can only. Escrow means, for everyone to actually understand, escrow is like me giving my payment to him. However, the transaction doesn't complete until both parties actually agree that the goods that I bought is already with me and it's in good condition. Both parties need to agree that we need to close the transaction. That's the only time the money goes to him. That's actually the meaning of escrow. So those are the functions that can be provided by mobile money service providers as well. For those, you can say, startup companies or individual retailers who sell it online. So there's a advantage and disadvantages. In terms of weaknesses, we'll go back again into that trust thing. That will you really, let's put it this way, why don't you put your $100 over there? But actually there's nothing there, right? You won't trust it. It's hard to convince people until they learn, oh, I need to put money there so I can do this. That's a triggering mechanism that he has the need on the service. In this manner, it's the payment on the e-commerce or the goods that he purchased.
So, how do you think why people in Myanmar doesn't want use such good e-commerce or mobile banking much? What's their difficulty to use?
I think the difficulty is not about they're not using it. The difficulty is about finding enablers or finding incentives to use it. Simple example, if I tell anybody sitting in this room that use a Visa card on online shopping, same price for both things, you might not use it because it does not make sense for you. You are more using cash from last 35 or 40 years, from a great grandfather actually, you've been seeing cash. But if I say, if you buy on shop.com with Visa card and get 10% discount if you use a Visa card, extra discount of 10%, you will put an extra effort to go to a bank, find a Visa card for yourself, come back to the online shopping website, try and use it because you are saving a money. That's what enablers I think my friend is talking about. We have to find enablers which helps people to use these product services. Advantages or disadvantage of cash is that, I'll take example last year what happened. Last year, same time, we had a sale called Mobile Week Sale. It was great success. We sold phones of huge amount of value and I had around 3 cars full of money going to bank. And Myanmar is safe, so we can take chances. But Kenya, as my friend told, is not safe. That's what we want to do. We had to call the bank and say we are bringing 3 cars full of money. We need support staff to count this money. It was $500,000 in converted chart now. So it was a huge amount of money going into bags to the bank. So we realized that this cannot happen next year. So this year, when Mobile Week starts, we make sure that we have online payments. We make sure customers can use digital transactions from Wave Money, OK Dollar, all the service providers to at least give them an incentive to buy online with a payment which is online. So these are the way I think the ecosystem is created, and it's all the industry fraternity also needs to work together towards it. Not only consumers but also the industry body, the government of Myanmar, the Central Bank of Myanmar needs to work towards it to make sure that this is pushed heavily so that people start moving this side.
So regarding with the the e-commerce and the mobile banking, so I should go back to the basic like trust. So we digital people believe that the money easy way and it saves us. But for my mom view, like, what are you doing? I cannot see any cash. It's not safe. So this is their perception on what they see on the digital money. So we cannot change them, but gradually we can broaden up. And of course, for the payment provider like OK Dollar, Wave Money, they also need to prove they are strong, they are strong and they are trustworthy. they are very easy to make a transaction. They are helping people. The kind of perception needed to be undoed to the public. So that's where e-commerce can enjoin all the threats between the payment provider and the users.
So you talk about that people don't want to go to bank to top up their CAD. As for me, I saw some people from Yangon, so they work at some companies or some organizations, and they get their salaries in
MPU.
Yes, MPU, and
they
every
queue.
payday, every payday they queue at the ATM and they withdraw all of their salaries. So how do you think on this?
I saw many complaint posts at end of the
Yes.
every month, like people cannot withdraw money because at the same time, many people, they need money, of course, their employees, they need to take out all the money they have.
Yes.
You can see all the complaints and things on the Facebook, social media, and the blog. But I think it's a good step to start with a visit. So now people have to go ATM. There's a money. You need to put your password to get your money. So people getting aware of how things work. This is a business. So I think it's a good initiative that some organizations start doing that kind of things, but there's complaint and stuff, but it's okay,
But
just for a
actually, they
moment.
don't need to withdraw all of their cash. They
I
can
think the
keep,
answer for
yes.
that is, again, it's more of trust on the banking system of the country. It means if any consumer or anybody of us is going to a bank, withdrawing entire money in one night, it means we're not trusting the system. It means we're not trusting the entire system which is built for convenience of the country. So I think that's not a good sign in that case. The people need to step up and say this is trustworthy, your money remains safe in the bank. That's very important, and cannot be done by any of the industry. It is done by the leaders, by the banking associations, and make sure that people believe in them actually in that case.
So do they pay for the ATM money for interest?
Yes.
Yeah. So if if they pay the interest, the people will get an incentive to to save their money on digital, on the card, not to withdraw everything.
Yes. It's been about 2 or over 1 years we can top up our telephone bills online by our mobile banking, but people withdraw cash and buy some top up cash from their nearest shops. So you said it's about the threats. Okay, they don't believe.
Maybe they don't believe in banking systems then.
But in a sense, payment provider, they using strategy cash refund. If you use their service, they give in 7% off on the.
Yes, we can get 3% off. We can top up.
Or something like that.
Yes.
That's a good initiative, I think. So for the organization who needs lots of credit to give their employee, this is really good for them. So it should start with the organization first.
So how e-commerce and mobile banking can help our country development, like tax payings or exports our local products to?
So I think e-commerce and online payments work very close across the world. If you look at China model, which is Taobao, the biggest C2C platform in China, they have 0 transaction fees. But every transaction happens via Alipay. And Alipay charges transaction fee for a consumer. That's again a model which Alibaba pioneered and built up in China. In Myanmar, as one of the biggest e-commerce companies, as the first ones to enter into Myanmar, we are working with all the banks, we are working with all these payment options to make sure that customers have all choices to buy online. But as I said, when I asked the question, how many of you tried online shopping? This is the audience which should try it. If you guys don't trust in online shopping,
You guys should try now to our website.
if you guys don't trust in this, then I think the next generation will not believe in it at all. And you guys are the ones who go and buy on Facebook, which is again, I don't stop that, but at the same time, you need to give a thought to what you're doing on other e-commerce websites. And for example, for that is, any e-commerce is built with electronic items. If you look at all markets, always starts with buying maybe a phone or maybe a book or maybe a electronic item, maybe a rice cooker. Why? Because it's a very standard product. You know a Samsung phone would be same online or in offline store. It's a seal pack phone. You know a rice cooker from Philips will be same if you buy from online or buy from a store. So that's where e-commerce generally builds up. And then payment providers help them to make payments faster. But as I said, there are a lot of regulations in terms of the central banks which does not allow any mobile wallet to have more than 2 lakh transactions per day, which again is a problem for a company like us because we sell a lot of mobile phones every day and mobile phones are more expensive. So the moment we go with OK Dollar or Wave Money, we get struck that a person cannot buy a high-end phone. He has to pay cash or he has to pay using his debit card or credit card. So these things have to change and I think it will slowly change as we move towards the right direction, and I'm really optimistic about that because I see a lot of changes happening from central bank towards going digital and cashless. But it will again, as she said, it will take some time to move towards the direction. And I think all of us sitting here needs to be a part of that journey.
For me, for this country, the e-commerce and mobile banking will help all the business organization to speed up, their speed and the momentum of the expansion and things. And it's also good for the living standard will be brought up. As long as people are happy with the online transactions and payment, I think it is good for them and for us to expand our business and also the living standards. Yes. Sure. And how about you? Are you sleeping? No.
Yeah, but for us, yeah, we're also going to be a big player in the industry. We're going to enable their customers, for us to be the channel for the payment to go to them, actually. And most of the time, it's like cash. It's always between the customer and the retailer. Whatever agreement they have, that's their agreement. I'm just a channel. So somehow we're the enabler in the industry, making sure that wherever the customer is, they can be accessed by the customer. And if there's any other dispute, let's say, we're also involved on the due diligence or whatever problem to solve the problem that they have.
So, in other sides, how government can help your problems?
I think as a company, we're already working with the ministries to set up a proper e-commerce law. We are trying to be part of the e-commerce law where we can define actually what e-commerce actually should mean in Myanmar. The way we've done it in other markets of ours, like in Sri Lanka or in Bangladesh, where we work with the governments and made sure there's a proper structured law for all companies, not only for us, but everybody. It should be equal law for everyone, so that people can do business only with their own resources. I think second thing would be, as I said, that the government needs to step in and make sure that people have they are enablers for that. And I think also as industry fraternity, I'll give example right now to you. I have worked with a lot of partners who have huge app base of mobile money. Like they have enough people claim to have 1 million people having the app on their phones. But when we do a campaign with them and we say a special discount only for that customer or that payment, no one knows how to use the app. That's surprising. It means you're just pushing the app, but you're not telling them how to use it. You can install the app in the device, it's okay, but it's lying unused in the device for entire 1 year. There have been instances in my last 1 month where I've seen customers using their app after almost a year. And they don't know, they registered it, they said we were told to register properly, we forgot to use it. Can you help us to use it again? And my team is helping them on a call to explain them, okay, now go to step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. These are things that industry also has to understand, that you just cannot push to have own installations. You need to find or work with not only online but also offline partners. Work with city marts, work with Capital Group, and make sure that the online payment is available in all these stores as well. If they are available there, it will help us also online companies, because then the trust starts building up automatically.
For me, for the government rule, less tax. No, because we paying our rules, right? So the people now getting aware of e-commerce stuff and social media and blog, right?
Awareness.
Yeah, awareness. People getting awareness. They actually buying things. They're using services from us. But it's still issue about the banking and things. So for the governments, they need to also give us, because we also struggling things. So they need to be aware of, and also less tax for the e-commerce startup and things that I hope from them.
So, what I'm trying to say is not actually to downgrade the players, but the government needs to show that they care about the customers. In this manner, the customer trust to the e-commerce or to the players is somehow will elevate. Because right now, just like what they said, that sometimes they are the middleman. It's another merchant seller, and that's their customer. They're the one who is actually bringing the merchants to the customers. It's like there's two businesses that, correct me if I'm wrong, the way it was evolved way back during the old days. It was just classified ads, literally, right? Someone will post that he's selling something, you're the classified ads, you show it to your customers. You became the middleman, you become the medium. Amazon started, the goods is really theirs. That's the difference of Amazon. Now, if you have a problem with the goods that you bought, you're actually dealing with Amazon directly. In this case, if you have a problem with the goods that you bought bought an iPhone that came to you as a wood with a printed paper, you're not dealing with him, you're dealing with the merchant that connected with him. Their job is to help you settle the problem with the merchant and the customer. But if the government somehow able to regulate or protect the customer and penalize those types of merchants, it will minimize, and the trust of the people will go up and the industry will be good. That's actually one of the help that the government can put down on the table up front.
No, I think that's a very valid point you have made, and that's why we already rolled out a system called seller tiering. We call it platinum sellers, gold and silver sellers now. So when platinum sellers are the ones which are always 100% customer friendly, 0% defect rate and all that. Then we have gold sellers where we have this option where we know they might have some mistakes, and silver are the ones where we have extra caution, where we make sure customers are being protected. As I told, it's very important for any company, not only for sitting on this panel, but any e-commerce startup, to make sure that the experience is amazing for the customer buying first time. Because in Myanmar, a lot of people are buying online first time, and that's very important to safeguard their interest. And sorry to say that, but the people here are very unforgiving. If you have a bad experience, you go and write about it across Facebook, across all social media.
Like 2 pages.
The company gets shattered. So that's a very important thing, that sometimes these mistakes do happen. Everybody of us are learning this. We had issues in the past which have fixed it now, and it will happen to every startup. Who will come to Myanmar, they will never be perfect in day one. They have to learn from Myanmar. It's a unique country with unique challenges. So you need to learn it and then make sure that you don't repeat those mistakes again.
So may I know some examples of unique challenge in Myanmar?
Example challenges.
Okay, I have enough actually. I can go on and on. But I think a simple example is that I will talk about a story of 2 years back. So where we brought up our first Black Friday sale, and no one believed in us. Actually, they said, "What is Black Friday here? It's a US concept. No one believes in online shopping in Myanmar, first of all." And we were like, really. I was like, okay, let me give it a try. Let me give my best shot to it. At that time, we used to get like 20 orders per day, to be honest with you. Like 20 orders per day is what we used to get that time. And we said, okay, if we do a Black Friday, how much orders we can get? Maybe 100, maybe 150 at max. Myanmar surprised us. In one night, we got 1,000 orders. We were not prepared. We never planned that. So Myanmar is unique in that side. We screwed up everything. Customer experience was very bad. People were not delivered products for 1.5 or 2 months. We learned, okay, this country is surprising. This is shocking to us. Now, for any campaign like this, we prepare for 3 months. We spend at least 3 months in planning the logistics, planning the marketing, the customer experience, customer service, returns again. We plan everything to the core to make sure that the customer experience is almost perfect. And still there are challenges where sometimes out of 100, one customer gets a wrong product or not happy with the product, and that is one massacre for us, that the customer just shoots us left and center on Facebook and calls and shout on us. And we try and pacify them, but again, this is again as people have to understand that we are also building up a system which will take time. We have already moved a lot ahead. Today, I think my personal belief is that Yangon is not Myanmar, because Myanmar only 10% people live in Yangon. Myanmar is a huge country with a huge population outside Yangon, Mandalay, which no one is serving, and no brand is focusing on that. This is where e-commerce can win without discounting. Today, my customers are buying outside Yangon, Mandalay. Example to you, I was in Naypyidaw last month. I stayed in a hotel and I was checking out and I gave my card. The lady was so happy, like, I bought phones from you and you get delivered in 2 days. So it's a good experience, you feel happy about it. There have been times when people said, your company was very bad, they didn't deliver on product on time. So you have to live by it. You have to live by it.
So any unit difficulties?
Challenge that we have like customer service, because normally we actually don't sell our own products, so we sell services from spa. So normally we sell services. So what people see us like, we are merchants, like, oh, they're doing spa, they're doing how rich they are. Actually we're not, we are in the middleman. And normally people who spending more than like 30,000 jab is around like 30, 35, 26, you know, and with a stable income, people who believe in cash. So that's where the customer service is really important for us. So whatever they go like, you know, oh, I forgot the street name, can you tell me what is it? So these kind of services, actually there is written information there, literally there. But still we need to encourage and helping them, you know, to make sure they will use our service again, which means more cost to us. So for us, it's pain in the ass. Sorry, I need to say that. Because it's costly for us to answer all the time, you know, where is the entrance? Because I don't know. I never been there, you know. But, and if they face some problem with waitress or their services, they blame to, you know, because they seen as a merchants, right? So this kind of perception, misperception, we still need to fix every step of their buying process. So a lot of work we need to put to make it happen and to come back again. So this is also challenging for us. So we are staying waiting the right time that people realize the e-commerce are not the product owners, and the e-commerce are not the, you know, service owners. So I think it might take time, but also for e-commerce, it's also tough to deal, and it's costly every time, day and night, and answering the complaint, and not only complaint, but also good comments. So we need to gratitude, we need to show, please come back again, this kind of stuff on behalf of our merchants. So yeah, it's really challenging, but it's worth it. Just go with it.
We don't have the experience yet. I'm just talking to the first partner right now. So we don't have the first-hand experience yet until we launch. But based on the experience, again, sometimes the customers are confused. Is it the way they're accessing, the last one that they're accessing, for them, that's the one that they're using. If let's say I'm accessing her website and then I use this mobile money, for them, they're using the mobile money. and their website doesn't carry it. But technically, he's just paying with the use of this application for whatever he purchased using their website. So the confusions are there, but so if you notice, there's some big changes on how the interaction of payment evolve. Before, you were going to be diverted to a separate website or separate interface for you to complete the transaction. But now, the look and feel remains the same. For the person to understand, you're still using their application, but at the back end, you're actually accessing now the application of the service provider of the financial services.
So thank you for your discussions. And is there any questions for these sections?
Oh God.
It's very stressful.
Don't use it.
Yes. And the other, usually my friends share, is nowadays they are calling my ATM card has been eaten by the machine. So that's really stressful, and then it took more than a week, or at least a minimum a week, to process at the bank, why we do not have time to go to the bank. That's why we choose mobile banking and ATM, and so that it will be convenient. But these are few stress. So I just wanted to understand how these two link, and with our experience, what are the possibilities that can solve or improved. I do not know who is responsible. How can it be done? Just want to
Is
understand.
mobile banking.
Okay. Anyone?
No, thanks.
Yeah, let me throw the ball back to them. That actually, it's in terms the exact experience you had experience on. It's sometimes called, what do you call that, timeout error. Right? So the interface that you're, sorry to be somehow technical on the answer, the interface that you're accessing is actually requesting a different platform, which is the platform of the financial service provider. The platform that you're accessing is expecting something in return. But somehow, at the middle of the transaction, someone didn't reply back. But technically, the other end processed your transaction, and for him, it's successful. For the interface that you're talking to, which is that website, for him, it's a failed transaction. And you did it again, right? So, the way it can be improved is actually on both ways. It's not just us, it's also them. For us, for the financial service provider, if we thought of something, this is a similar transaction, same amount, same destination, less than 5 minutes interval, this might be a duplicate transaction, so we reject it. Right? From their part, same scenario, they have all those categories to consider the transaction is duplicate. What they will do on their end is actually ask you the question that you're trying to do the similar transaction, you still want to continue. Or they will give you a timeout, please wait another 5 minutes. Because for us, even we confirm from them, for us, it's a similar transaction. We might rejected it, not unless we have some sort of understanding that if they requested, and there's a what we call internal transaction ID that always different. For me, that's different, then I'll facilitate that. But on safe side, most of the financial most of the way we treat that, we treat it as duplicate just to remove the headache. It's just 5 minutes.
But I think it's also a matter of, I think it's again my personal view here completely, but it's again in frontier markets or markets which has just opened 4.5, 5 years back, these challenges are going to happen. It happens in even developed markets. So there are chances where people have been skimmed off their credit cards in Europe. There have been chances happening same thing in US. So it's not that it's completely safe, but at the same time you need to be more vigilant. And it comes from learning, and slowly as we move towards more digital and more cashless, it will come in place. We'll have, as my friend said, you will have checks in place, you will have more awareness about how to do it, you will have systems blocking it by default. Internet will become much better. I think it's become already very good, but I think it will become much better in coming months. So these things will change the way people transact online, actually.
I have a question on logistics. So I'm trying to understand from a Myanmar perspective. All of you all have said that Yangon is not Myanmar. There's so much more to it. So are there any logistical nightmares you face in the topography of delivering products or delivering services, especially in such an offline and cash-driven market? I'm sure a lot of your services, whether it's topping up cell phones via an agent or delivering a product, it includes a lot of COD. So when your guys are actually going there, your trucks, your bikes, your vehicles are going there, are there any nightmares you face or any issues or any unique Burmese hacks that you have not had to experience in any other market, but you're experiencing here, or you've kind of given birth to here because Myanmar?
Sumi first.
Okay, I think I can share some insights here. So Shop.com MM is a part of Rocket Internet family, which has business across Africa, in Latin America and in Southeast Asia. And believe me, Myanmar is one of the safest destinations for doing business. People here don't snatch money. There have been some instances with us in past. There have been locations which we have blacklisted now in our systems, or at these locations we don't deliver during a particular time of afternoon where we know we can be handled safely. There have been times where my delivery guys have been beaten, they have been robbed, they have been taken the product without giving money, but that's a risk that we all take for doing our business. Coming to logistics side, I think it generally happens in Yangon where people are still trying to snatch money. But if you go outside Yangon, maybe Mandalay, maybe Bago, maybe Kachin, there are people who are happy that they get a product on time with them. They're ready to pay us advance also sometimes, which we said no, you can pay us when you get the product. So I think for us the challenges mostly happens in Yangon in some special townships, which I don't want to name it right now, but there are locations which we have blacklisted today in a system, or we have put a flag there, which means whenever anybody places order from these locations, we at least send 2 guys, or we send it in a particular time zone, as I said you, to make sure that we are not being cheated. But again, the problem here is that if something happens, no one listens to us. There have been instances where personally I've gone to all the law and everything and nothing has been happened. They said, just forget about it. Okay, we can forget 1 time, 2 times, but as business grows up, we need security about that as well. And that's very important for the security forces or the police to take up and say, okay, these locations, we need extra support or maybe more vigilant there.
For us, it's like more focused on services, not like product. So mostly people buy coupon online and then they need to pay cash on spas or hotels, something like that. But what we normally face, the issue is people normally asking for discount coupon because they want it. And when it's rain, there is a flood and they change their mind. And then we already booked for like 3 people, sometimes 30 people, they need to cancel, right? In that case, yeah, it's a bit headache, yeah? So what we do is like, for this kind of case, if the money amounts it, the limited amounts it, the larger than what we think, we asking to transfer money in advance, like 50% things. Normally they do agree if they are authentic customers. So that way we base trust on the focal point. And for other user, like individual user, they normally say like, okay, sorry, I don't use it anymore because it's raining, because I canceled the spa. So, but they didn't inform ads. So what's happened is that the merchants, they waiting and we book on behalf of them. So if they're doing like more than 3 times, we have the data analysis. So if the guys reject, the coupons, denying to use coupon, and then whatever coupon he made, we made a phone call and then prove that we are human, not a machine, not a coding, come on. And then we say, okay, ago you're trying to, asking like 3 times or 4 times. Did you use it? And what time are you using? These kind of actions, human actions. So in here, lots of extra customer service and action requires. So that's what we're doing right now.
I think also for logistics, it's very important that the systems or the IT needs to start integrating more. When you talk to a lot of companies or service providers, their IT is still not ready in terms of tracking packages. Today, as a consumer, it's a consumer point of view again, that the moment you place an order, you become impatient as a consumer. You want a product to be coming very fast to you. And sometimes this is where the big companies have tracking mechanisms where they track the package from the warehouse to from a hub to the customer delivery point. And obviously we're working on that direction as well. But the IT support or the infrastructure required in terms of network from SMS service providers to all the 3 operators, on the ground understanding of the logistic companies, or very basic problems. People don't want to address that right now. That's where we are working with selective partners. We're working with Myanmar Post as well to make sure that we enhance the systems, we enhance their people. We are training them right now to how to talk to a customer, how do you greet them, how do you have, sometimes customers are not, they're nasty, they are sometimes rude. How do you handle it also very well? So these are things which we train them, but it's a very time consuming process. There's a lot of cost involved in that as well.
Hello? So I just want to mention that we just have seen a user who has trust issue on the payment system. So what I want to say is, of course, the connections are getting better, and if financial service provider and the online websites work together, we can have a better online financial services. But one question that raised is, how could we get the trust back? Because it's easy to gain the trust, but it's easy to get the trust back once it's lost. So how will you, it's just an open opinion, how will be?
You go first.
So again, as I said, that my experience in Myanmar says that Myanmar people are very unforgiving. The moment
Come on.
Sorry, don't take it personally. But the thing is that it means that they are very peculiar about customer experience, and that's fair. And that's fair as a consumer. I'm completely on your side. That as a consumer, I want my product to be delivered perfectly, on time, with proper packaging. That's fair ask. I agree. As I said, that this is where, as a company, we don't outsource anything. We control the entire customer experience. We control the logistics. Whenever we work with sellers, we have a quality check. We don't sell the product directly from the seller to the consumer. The seller products gives to us. We do a QC of the product. We check it properly. Sometimes we blacklist sellers as well to make sure that the sellers are selling fakes. You cannot work with us anymore. But there are times that sometimes because of frames, because of something happened, the packages might get broken. At those times, again as a company, we say, we're sorry. Either you take the money back or you can send the next product to you. We are already working on that policy in the last 1.5 years. It's called 7-day return policy, which means any product you buy and you're not happy in the next 7 days, return it back to us and we'll refund the money without any questions asked. But when we lose our trust, we tell customer to give us a chance, maybe give him a special discount voucher and say, please go and try again. Maybe you had a bad experience one time, maybe not. The problem is that as a marketing, one negative customers take away 10 positive customers from you. But a positive customer never writes about it on Facebook. He will be always, okay, it's good. But when anything wrong happens with you, you go berserk on all social media and say this company is very bad, don't buy from them. And that's a very natural consumer behavior. And it happens globally. So as a company who's building up e-commerce, you cannot falter on this experience point. That's where our major focus on major cost today goes on ensuring a very, very good customer experience so that the journey or the buying experience is amazing. And then when you get the product, my delivery guys are now wearing their uniforms, they have their ID card. These are things we have learned in Myanmar. People said they were not wearing ID cards. Okay, we track who's not wearing ID cards. They are collecting extra tip money, no tip money now. So all these things we have fixed when we learn businesses.
For me, the customer trust, it's more about the power game. Like, if people can't live without this service, you are the king. I mean, come on. So with the poor service at stake, people love it because they can't live without it. So what we try to do is we want to be in that place, being a powerful e-commerce player. But of course, for the business, I have to be honest, we have a customer service team. Some are good, some are bad, some are terrible, some are outstanding, right? So managing human resources also a bit headache for the country managers and also CEOs nowadays. So things happen even in the giant organizations in this country. Complaining and writing comments on the Facebook, it's a little bit dramatic. Like it's like girlfriend and boyfriend things. But but we were past this stage because we are early in the digitalizing age. People are very sensitive about the what they see, what they feel, and of course Burmese people are very highly emotional intelligent. I mean, so but we were past this stage, and people will understand there will be a good service, and then you can face a bad service as well. And for us, it's good to hear back what are the weaknesses. What we lost, who are the customers we lost, and we try to make sure that as much as possible not to lose our customer, but it's the variable that we can control. But from the customer side, like she said, like okay, I'm not going back, no, I'm not going to use anyway. So this one we cannot control it. So what we can do is we need to prove that our service is really helpful for you and really good for you. At one point, people were starting to realize this one is good for me, and then why? Maybe should I try it again? These kind of things will happen automatically. So we don't need to go there and apologize. Of course we're doing these kind of things, but it's not the trucks it work, right? So prove then and move forward. Things can happen in any time. So to gain the customer trust, focus on the customer service, good product. That what we are driving is. Yeah.
So, any comments?
Actually, that's a very difficult question. I hate the person who asked that question. But actually, the way they describe it is actually avoiding the issue. The question is, what if the issue happened? So it's like the husband did something wrong, and the wife got mad. The only thing the husband will do is, I'm sorry, it's my fault, let's do it again. So yeah, there's no excuse, right? It's my fault, I'll accept it, and as she says, that will help me improve, right? But somehow that improvement, you need to actually go beyond the expectation of the customer for you to gain back the trust. Again, it's just like husband and wife, right? You need to go beyond, which is really hard to gain back that trust. Or if you want to sleep at the couch at the rest of your life, just accept it. Okay?
Okay, so
I I see student out there. For strategy first. Come on, guys. Ask questions.
They're all sleeping, I think.
Hello. Just a quick question, because many people have discussed about Facebook and social media, right? And I have seen many people do informal transaction on the Facebook, especially. So how do you, from the traditional e-commerce and the social commerce, how do you see it going? Where is this the e-commerce business growing in 1-2 years' time?
For me, social media, we call like Web 2.0. That's a like third-party content provider like Facebook, YouTube, Instagrams. So, which is very powerful because we are connected with friends, family, sometimes even the teachers, grandpa, your dad, and they stalking all around every day. So, but the powerful thing is, people trust you because you're connected, the close group. So if you recommend something, okay, guys, shop.com is really good. I got a discount. These kind of, it's a tiny effort that can push, sale or reputation for the, shop.com. So we also need to care about the power of the social media, whether is it good or not. If we see the negative feedback, we take actions. So you say like you apologize, get free dinner or free spas or 50% or whatever is it possible, give her and make her happy again and resolve the problems. Don't get away. So in the people who doing business on Facebook are the same case. They selling online and the product are not qualifying yet, so they complain things, the difficulties and the fake products. So we see many Facebook online shopping just booming like 6 months and then disappearing, many things. So in that case, people losing trust on the online shopping and it affects the e-commerce as well. So we cannot control this kind of behavior because they are also human beings. We're doing the same way. So what we can prove is like you doing your business proper way and you showing your business it's how strong you are, how guarantee you have. In that way, I think whatever you're on Facebook or blog or e-commerce, whatever it is, people will trust you. So take action, whichever platform you are in, and pay interest, pay attention to all the customers, even though they spend only a little amount of money. So that's my opinion for the other platform of the online shoppings.
For me, I think social commerce is actually a step towards actual online shopping. If I ask any person where is the customer coming from, what is the kind of age group they have, what are the kind of data points a customer is using to come to a Facebook page, they have no idea. They have no idea how to bring them back next time. Maybe you can make one sale and then maybe one more sale, but you cannot attract them every time on a Facebook page because the tools are not available for that. Online shopping platform gives a lot of tools to us. Tools where I know what a person like you would be looking at. If you are a female of this age group, I will never show you a product of baby. I will always show you products of your dresses, of your makeup, because I know you will be buying that kind of products. So we can do a lot of segmentation in marketing, which a Facebook page is not allowed to do. As a consumer, you are more happy with that because I don't bombard you with marketing and say this is for you, this is for you. We say this is for you. We say that this product is made for you. We bring them again and again. It's called repurchase in our business, where we say how many times in a month or in a year a consumer is buying from us. A year back it was 0% because we were selling mostly electronic items. Then we changed the strategy towards selling also women products, maybe more of dresses, maybe more of shampoos, more of makeup. And the ladies love that. They buy almost every month because this finishes fast and they buy every month. So we need to create those products, those products or those assortments which help you to come and buy again and again. A Facebook page doesn't allow you to do that thing because the product comes one time from Thailand or from Korea, you sell out, finish, next time bring next things. You have no idea what consumer bought it, what kind of profile was he looking for, nothing. And in e-commerce, data is king. We all have to look at data. We do all the decisions making based on data, which does not happen on Facebook page. An e-commerce company with having a lot of data points collection helps us to create specific targeted marketing, targeted communication, and targeted operations as well.
Okay, so it's time for last questions. Okay.
Hey, thank you so much. I learned a lot in this panel. I have a question about the role of the government. So in the panel, I heard the government should protect the consumer. The government should help secure the safety of delivery people, and the government should secure the banking system. And I also heard the government should lower taxes on e-startups. So I just wanted to ask your opinion realistically, what's the relationship right now with the government that you encounter in your business? And also, what's the ideal case of the interaction between these e-commerce companies and the government? Thanks.
So as I told already that, right now there is no proper e-commerce law in Myanmar. We all know that. There is nothing called a service law or service parameter, SLA, what we call it in our words, defined for all these companies, which is sad, to be honest. Because also we need to be checked. We are not saying don't check us as well, but also safeguard us against mistreatments, against frauds. So what we are doing is we are started discussions with the relevant ministries to create an e-commerce proper law, and it's a very nascent discussion going on right now. Just started discussion, so it will take some time, but maybe in a matter of 6 to 8 months, we might have a proper e-commerce law, which creates a proper guideline for not only us, for everybody coming in Myanmar, because there are only few players right now. It's a big country to have at least 3 to 4 big players to play around. So I think as our company, we already started discussions with the ministries to make sure that there's a proper e-commerce law which protects consumers, protects the sellers, protects the companies who are doing facilitation for that.
For me, it's governments and our company communications relationships only tax, like every month, like commercial tax, you need to pay for it. But yeah, I agree with that. We also need to see like proper regulations and protections for the e-commerce businesses. So that's what we're hoping from the government and other organizations.
For mobile money or mobile financial services, there's a specific governance that governs the mobile service providers. So the engagement, to answer your question directly, it's more directly on what's the regulation, how it will help us. Then the taxation is very straightforward. But with regards to the customer, that falls under the e-commerce or the trading part. So it's more of a trading and industry part. And for us, it's more on the banking part. So it's two governance. Yes, it's the government, but it's two governance body that regulates.
So thank you for your questions and thank you for your answers. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much.